All right, you guys set up and ready? Three, two, one, stop.
Audio Jungle. Hey, we're live. Look at that. I did it. Yay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know this is an off day for our streams, but it's a super exciting off day. I'm super grateful to be joined here by this lovely crew of ladies. We today are speaking with the students and educators and designers behind S.E.E.D, which I'm going to get this right, is the School for Experiential Education in Design, located at the Adidas Brooklyn Creator Farm. That would be Brooklyn, New York, for those not on the East Coast. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. For those of you guys watching, hello here for cheese. That's Christopher. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone that's in the chat, if you guys have questions as we go through our little discussion, please feel free, drop those questions in the chat like usual, and I will read them. For those of you that don't know me by now, it's been a long, how many years have we been in quarantine? 12. My name is Megan. I'm coming to you live from the Wacom Experience Center in Portland, Oregon. If you're not familiar with the Wacom Experience Center, we are located at the base of our U.S. headquarters here in Portland. We are normally open to the public showroom, creative workspace, basically just like a giant open classroom showroom where you can come work on whatever you are working on, test out new products. You do you. We're here. We have events. We do drink and draws. We have panel discussions, just like the one that we're about to have. So I'm going to stop talking for like a few minutes. Everyone's used to it, I know. But let's get into it, and let's introduce and learn who we are speaking with today. I'm actually going to start off with either Charisse, Jessica, or Liz. I'll have you guys kick it off. But let's go around and everyone introduce yourself, and then also tell a little bit about what you do at S.E.E.D.
All right.
Charisse, you got
I'll
it.
kick off. Liz, I felt you. Liz is talking to Charisse. I'm Charisse Thornhill. I'm the design director at S.E.E.D. What do I do? All the things that Jessica and Liz don't do. So design direction, leading the curriculum, working with our business partners on the projects that we're taking to market, working with our students and setting direction and meeting with them on the projects that they're working on. A little bit of everything, like we all do. But that's my role.
Awesome.
Liz, talking to you. You're up.
Yeah. All right, I like this. I like how we practice. So I'm Liz Connolly. I am the program manager. I really am in charge of all things talent related. So bringing students into S.E.E.D and then helping students get placed from S.E.E.D. Marketing now and branding, seeding teams for our projects that go to market, developing our brand identity, and yeah, all of the things that Charisse and Jessica don't do.
Exactly.
You're up, Jess.
Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Smith. So as far as my role on S.E.E.D, I really support our strategy and growth for the program, as well as looking at the overall design of the curriculum experience, and together with Charisse, and particularly have a passion and sharp point around leadership and soft skill development. And so I get to spend time with the students as well, thinking about who are you and what's your greatness and how do you show more of it. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome.
All
All right,
right.
and I'll kick it. Oh, okay.
No, I was going to say, let's hand it over to the students and have them introduce themselves.
You're up, Bree.
Bree, you should have known we were going to call on you.
I had a
You gotta
feeling.
feel it, Bree.
I did.
Yeah, you gotta feel it.
Hey, my name's Brianna Walker, but everyone calls me Bree. I'm one of the 6 women a part of S.E.E.D. And I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Staten Island, New York, and super excited to hop on this conversation with all of you, and share a little bit about what this journey has been so far. So I'm going to swing it to Tina.
Hey everybody, my name is Christina Lopez. I'm 22. I'm from Bonham Park, California. Currently living in Brooklyn, New York, though. Of course, first generation of the S.E.E.D program. And my role is to learn as much as I can to try to break into the industry. To mirror Bree, I'm just super excited to be on this panel and just talk about our paths. I'm gonna pass it to Nelly.
Hi, thank you, Tina. So my name is Danielis. I currently live in the Bronx. I'm 21, and I'm super excited to get to talk to you guys. Mel, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Hey, my name is Mel. I'm from Somerville, Massachusetts, currently based in Brooklyn. Super excited to be a part of this panel and to share our story a little bit. I'll pass it over to Alaya.
Cool. Hey everyone, I'm Elia Jackson. I'm 20 years old from Miami, Florida. Super excited to be here to give insight into what we've been doing so far and answer any questions. So now I'll pass it over to Sam.
Hi everyone, I'm Samantha Alvarado. I'm 20 years old from Flushing, Queens. And this is just such a cool experience to get to talk to everyone and tell everyone our story. So yeah, that's all 6 of us.
I love it. Yay. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Also, A+ for those handoffs. That was seamless. You obviously work closely together, which I love. You can tell you're like, you're ready. I can tell she's not ready. Go. That was beautiful. So, first question, it spoke about S.E.E.D, like 2 words. I said what it stood for. Charisse, Jessica, Liz, could you guys give a little bit of background for everyone watching, just how S.E.E.D started, what it is, what the purpose is, the whole elevator pitch?
Yeah, I can kick it, and then Liz and Charisse can fill any gaps. But essentially, Liz and I, before S.E.E.D, were tasked with bringing the next generation of creators into the brand, specifically from university. And we showed up in classrooms for a lot of years and just really felt like there were substantial groups of people missing. And so that's kind of the impetus for where S.E.E.D started. And our creative direction team was really supportive in having a shared goal to make sure that our teams and therefore our design was inclusive and had representation. And so we took a nod from the tech industry, who had been trying to solve a similar problem, and looking at direct pathways into careers that didn't require 4 years and $200,000. So we created S.E.E.D to be a 2-year college alternative program, which would basically identify and build the capabilities to be qualified and ready for an entry-level design role in footwear specifically, as the goal at the end of the experience.
Yeah, I'll say the cool part is, I think, the guaranteed placement at the brand Adidas, but the ultimate goal is really to change the entire industry. So partnering across other brands, which I think, especially in our industry, isn't always the usual. I've had a fun time even just trying to explain to people, like, I know I'm at it, like, hey, let's catch up. But it's so much bigger than a brand. It's about changing across the board. So I think that piece is cool. And then Charisse, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about kind of how we work and how we learn from the product design side.
Yeah, for sure. Just to kind of piggyback off of, what Jessica mentioned, I've been in the footwear design industry for over 13 years, and I always looked around, and there were just no other women, not a lot of other women in our roles and on my team. And then also, if we talk about women of color, just didn't exist. And I think that's the opportunity we have, in front of us right now. Then from an education standpoint, a lot of the projects that I worked on in college weren't real projects. They were things that I made up or my professors made up. And the opportunity here within Seed is that we're actually working on real products with real budgets, with real timelines. And I think learning, the best creativity comes out of constraint, and I think our students are able to learn a lot more because we have real life projects with real constraints. And I think their creativity is just kind of exploded out of having those real life projects at their fingertips.
And I think on that, the last thing I'll add is the three of us have a passion around education and accessible education, right? So we also acknowledge that the learning styles are very different across different people. So our brand really has a core belief around open source, which is essentially collaboration. And so making sure that the learning is hands-on and that the teaching is really diverse too, in terms of who's coming in and sharing insights, so that multiple learners can feel engaged in the process a lot too.
That is super cool. I love it. And I think you guys partner a lot with Pencil. Pencil Footwear Academy is based here in Portland, Oregon, kind of the brainchild of Dwayne Edwards, who is super amazing, super motivating, probably one of my favorite people in the world. What's your guys' relationship with Pencil?
What's not our relationship?
What's not your relationship with Pencil?
I was gonna say.
Dwayne just always been such an amazing mentor for me. I credit him among a few others, just helping me get my foot into the door. I've known Dwayne now for probably over 15 years. We met like my sophomore year in college, and he's just amazing. I mean, he's the godfather of our industry.
100%.
For all designers, it doesn't matter where you're from, you've run into Dwayne at some point in your career. But we work a lot with him on our curriculum.
Cool.
And then also on, the talent day-to-day, some week-to-week kind of plans that we have in place where we're going. And he also sits on our board. He's one of our board of advisors. So we work really closely with Dwayne.
I love it. We are big. I am a big advocate of supporting Pencil and, of course, now S.E.E.D. And so I love and appreciate this new approach to education. I think the first time we spoke, Charisse, we spoke a little bit about how just like it needs to change. It's just not, it just isn't working, so let's do something different. So this is super exciting.
For sure.
So I'm going to hand this question out to everyone. This is a very, very serious, very important question. So take a moment, think about your answer. What is your favorite pair of sneakers? You don't have to say why, but I'm curious for all of you. I'm gonna toss this one to Bree to start because she's in my top left corner. She's like right here in our Brady Bunch Zoom chat. So sorry, it's all you.
Perfect person to answer this question.
Perfect.
First.
Yeah.
Good luck, Bree.
My favorite sneaker of all time is the Bread Jordan 1.
Solid. Classic.
Yeah. Am I swinging it over to someone?
Yeah, do it.
Awesome. I'm curious, Charisse.
Oh, there's so many. And this is like the most cliche answer ever, but it's the AJ11, everyone's favorite. The Concord specifically. Yeah. I know, it's very cliche. Nelly.
I will have to say Superstar in all red.
Oh, okay.
All right, everyone in the chat is Googling different sneakers right now so they can throw out some answers.
Well, I don't think it's cliche, Charisse, but my favorite pair of shoes is a Jordan 11 Legend Blue, though.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
To match your blue shirt today. Your Dodgers shirt.
Yes. I'll pass it to you, Laya.
I was waiting for it. I think my favorite, I really love ones, but I would definitely have to go with the Green Glow 4s because I used to be obsessed with them in middle school, but I never got them. But I still love them.
Nice.
So I'll pass it to Mel.
I would say maybe some simple sambas.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be my faves. Sam, passing it over to you.
Yeah, I think it would be wrong if I didn't say Stan Smiths because I own them in like every color.
Nice.
So I'll pass it over to Liz.
Man, y'all are gonna hate on me, but Adilets. Slides for life.
Nailed
Slides
it.
for life.
Yep.
I was wearing slides this morning in 30-degree weather. Like, socks and slides, baby. Jess, you're up.
So Liz stole one of my top two, definitely, like socks and slides. I mean, that's like a childhood pastime.
Yep.
Second childhood pastime, I'm gonna throw it back and y'all make fun of me, but from a performance standpoint, the pro models, like those were like high school
Oh, wow.
basketball, like
Were you balling in those?
absolutely. And from a performance standpoint, like I did not have the parents who were gonna buy me Jordans. So the good team shoe that was durable, that
I gotta try those out.
down, and also stayed together for the entire season. And I like the classic aesthetic. So
Okay.
that was a good shoe.
We're gonna buy.
I have those. I'm gonna try them out.
We get team pros and play a game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What color, Jessica?
Oh, maybe. I'm with Tina.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I love it. I love
Awesome.
it. I love it.
Never go wrong with blue.
You can't go wrong with blue. So there is some Samba love happening in the chat, which is great. They're super classics. I grew up in Southern California, so there's two, either Converse or Cortezes. I have multiple Cortezes in a lot of different colors. I don't know, they always look good. Always. So now that that's done, thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. I'm kidding. More questions. So these are questions for the class. Let's talk a little bit about, where did my questions go? When did you guys, and we can kind of go around, whoever wants to chime in first, just feel free. When did you first learn about design in general as a career path? Like
so I was gonna say in high school, I went to high school fashion industry, and there I was introduced to apparel design, and that's what I did there as a major. So that's when I kind of like decided, okay, I want to do something related to fashion or footwear.
Yeah,
Same. Oh,
You're
you want to go, Sam? Okay.
No, you got
Yeah.
it.
I mean, same for me. I went to a design high school called Design and Architecture Senior High. So in that high school, they had like a range of different majors. So you were saying, so they had like fashion, industrial design, graphics, film, etc. And so, just for me, I found product design to be more fascinating. And that's kind of where I started learning about footwear design and just like product design in general.
Yeah. I was gonna say, me and Nelly actually went to the same high school, the High School of Fashion Industries in Manhattan, and so we were pretty exposed to the idea of like design jobs, but never footwear. It was always like graphic design or apparel. So we had a little bit of an idea.
I will. I can honestly say that I remember a specific point. I just went to a regular public high school and they didn't really like talk about careers until like senior year. But I knew that there was design careers because like I had an art teacher and a ceramics teacher, so I'm like, well, they're in a career, so didn't really know about it until like end of high school.
I studied interior design in college at FIT, and there was footwear design at the time, of course. But even like in the display cases, it was always like vintage heels or just like formal shoes. So I never even gravitated toward it. But it wasn't until I did a program called Sneaker Essentials with Yellow Brick, where I learned about the business and design side of like sneakers in general. And that's kind of when my interest in footwear design, sneakers specifically, kind of went that way. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I also went to a regular public high school, so I wasn't really exposed to any creative industry at the time. And then I went to a liberal arts school called Tufts University, which was also in my hometown in Somerville. And there I kind of was just pursuing like very like linear idea of like what a professional major could be. So it was like a lot of STEM. And then by my senior year, I took this class called user interface design, which was UX design heavy. And that was kind of the first time like, oh, like this could be like a legit career, like thinking about people and like designing for them and kind of curating questions and trying to solve for them. And then once that happened, I graduated and I was like, oh wow, like this was something I actually would want to do. So then I kind of went in a rabbit hole of like what I would actually want to pursue, and footwear was definitely up there. I also played basketball, so like that kind of came to life, I think, especially when I heard about S.E.E.D, like literally months after.
Super, super cool. Leia, you're getting a lot of love for your backdrop, the horse backdrop behind you. The chat is loving it. It is okay. It is a unicorn. So yes, Christopher, question answered. There you are.
I appreciate it. It's the only quiet space in my house right now, so I just got to be here.
You gotta give your sister those props,
yeah. Let her know. The people love it.
Got it.
So a few of you answered this. So for those of you, was there a specific point in which, also shout out to high schools for having more of a conversation about careers and a variety of careers. I think it probably took me till my sophomore year of college to realize that like you could have a viable degree, career path in art, even though I was like, I'm a painting major. Like no one talked about careers. So big ups to high schools now. Mid 90s, different story. But at what point did you guys like pivot to footwear? Because I feel like my experience is that it's kind of one of those it's not a secret, but you don't think about it. People often don't think about industrial design. They don't think about appliance design and, footwear design and products. So at what point did you guys learn, or did like the switch flip that you're like, oh, footwear design, I can do this?
I can start off. So I was actually always pretty into footwear. Just not design, just like the latest sneakers that was coming out, especially because I played basketball in middle school, so it was always the basketball players wearing the hottest sneakers. So when I transitioned into high school, I took product design, like I said, but at first it was just like, it was a project on like sketching chairs or like sketching a backpack. And then our teacher gave us like a footwear design project one day, and I had never drew a shoe, so that project actually came out pretty awful. But that's when I kind of understood that footwear design was an actual option versus just like being a book bag designer. So I was into footwear, so I definitely started taking that more serious. So yeah.
And maybe the one thing I'll share is this is actually also one of the goals of S.E.E.D, is to actually drive creative career awareness. So we have identified, 6 individuals who wanted to go on this path, but part of our outreach selection process includes identifying people who might not have known still that this is an option, and helping them to connect the dots, because as you said, there's not enough education and awareness for it.
That's
and that was actually my case. I wasn't like, I used to like sketch here and there footwear, but it was never like I was super passionate about it. But then when the opportunity came to me, I was like, yo, in the end of the day, I'm a creator, so I'm gonna do the best in any situation that I put myself in. And now that I'm in the program and I have learned so many different things about footwear, I've definitely grown my passion towards footwear and apparel.
Yeah, kind of similar to that too. Like, I think it was always kind of a back burner idea. Like, oh, like if I pursued something like this. I don't know how. I like started Googling. I think I remember even like printing out like these like outlines that Pencil had and like their vocab list. And like, I was like, I don't know, like put it in a folder, but then was still prioritizing like the career path, which was like marketing at the time. Because I was like, oh, this is a little more accessible for me. And like, I have it in my toolbox. And then it was when like I had like this candid conversation with a friend about like, yeah, I think maybe design school along the lines might be like where it's at, but like I don't know if I want debt. And mentioned footwear design as like one of the things. I was like, footwear, I want to like design my own bed. Like these are all things I want to do. And then literally like a few weeks later, they like sent me screenshots. Like I was like, what is this? I felt kind of sketchy because it was just like Facebook order, like S.E.E.D. Never heard of S.E.E.D. Like start Googling S.E.E.D. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's due in a day and a half. And like I like drew up like the craziest looking sneaker and like, yeah, that's kind of how I ended up like
It wasn't
pursuing
the
it. And
craziest looking. It wasn't the craziest looking, Mel. Come on. I called you.
Went hard enough, yeah.
Crazy in a good way.
But yeah,
Crazy in a good way.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, similar to what Jessica said, just like seeing a program that's like very catered to you, it kind of was like, okay, like I have to lean into this. So that's kind of how I got exposed.
Too cool. All right.
For me, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's a specific point in time that I remember was my senior year. This was like a crucial time where like I needed to figure out what I was gonna do as a career. College deadlines, like application deadlines already passed. Like I didn't know what to do. And I just kind of dove deeper into like my art classes, and my art teacher let me submit footwear sketches as like the weekly stuff. And I've always been into like design and drawing and painting like my entire life. And then I grew into sneakers, so those passions just kind of fused together and kind of led me onto this path. But I remember like it was my senior year, like about to graduate, and I'm like, I'm gonna do footwear design.
I love it.
Cool.
All right. So it's been what? It's been a year, right? It's been a year. Think back. What was it like that first day at S.E.E.D? What was that experience like for y'all? Nostalgia. Little seasonal nostalgia here.
It was a very like exciting but also super anxious day, because it's like it's the same feeling like on the first day of school, and you're like, oh, like who's my teacher gonna be, what's the assignments gonna look like, and especially because this isn't your standardized like education system. So it was really cool to like walk into the farm and like reconnect with the girls and kind of get an understanding of like this is like a new beginning for us. But what was really cool is like we had a lot of icebreakers that day, and really getting to know each other. Actually, that whole first week with Jessica, kind of like getting in tune with understanding who we are, and then like kind of like owning that. So off rip, even like from the first day to the end of that first week, you got this understanding that this wasn't going to be a traditional like structured education plan. But it was also really cool because I liked that they wanted to get to know us first, to then kind of understand how to teach us, not only in design, but as a professional, which you don't get, in college or in high school. So like off the bat, you could tell like it was going to be nothing like what we've experienced so far. And it hasn't been, and it's been so much better.
The first day was the first day of school for us too. I mean, I had just gotten to New York. I hadn't even unpacked like my suitcase yet, and we were embarking on something brand new. It's never been done before. And Liz and Jessica, maybe they hit me up like a month before we started, like, hey, Sharice, want to move to New York?
Why not?
Why not? You know? So just it's one of those moments in your life where you really have to just get on the plane, you don't know what you're going towards, but it's going to be something amazing and something bigger than you can ever imagined it would be. And the first week for me, it was that first week of school. Who's everyone going to be? You know, who's on my team? What is the structure going to look like? All of those things were forming as we were going. So it was really exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I think 6 months before, see the first day, maybe 8, seed was a concept in a deck, and I walked into my interview with the brand saying I wanted to start a school, and so when we had selected the 6 women just 4 weeks before the first day of school, and then to Tina and Alaya literally had like relocated their lives or still trying to figure out where they were going to live. Like, um, it was like, yeah, to create something from nothing and to have it be tangible and real, and then to also um, see it fulfill a real need, right? To have individuals who were excited and passionate and committed to the journey. It was probably one of the most exciting moments, probably top 5 moments for me. It was amazing.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think I was just crying the whole first day, wasn't I?
Like, it's happening. Oh my gosh, it's happening.
I was like, they're here. They're here.
As much as I was excited, like obviously for the school to start, like my first thought was like, damn, I'm really in New York. Like I'm from SoCal. Like it was cold over here. Like that was the most like when Bree said like first day of school, it totally felt like that. But like it was so cold. It was that was like my first thought. Like I was still my body was still thawing like when I like throughout that whole day. But yeah, I was just like real excited to see what it was like. But yeah, I was just still in shock going from all the way across the country.
Yeah, it was definitely a healthy mix of terrifying and exciting because for me it was my second time of dropping out of college. So it was like I'm stepping into something that's so new, never been done before. It was my first exposure to like sneaker design. So it was like all or nothing, and it's been amazing since that day. So I don't regret anything. Not that that was the question, but it was just crazy. It's been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, talking about dropping out of college, what's funny is that I was actually in college when I flew out to New York for the creator camp. And I had final exams. So I was like, hey, listen, professor, I can't make the exams because I gotta go to New York. They were like, why? I was like, because I just gotta go for an opportunity. Like I didn't know how to explain it, but I was just like, I won't be here for the exam. Because my brother told me like I would have been a fool to not take this opportunity. It was something that I was so desperate for, and I wasn't doing anything exciting in college. I was just doing other English classes just as in high school. It was super boring. So I was just like, why not? So I mean, going to New York from Miami was super different. Again, Tina said it was super cold. I don't even know how many pounds I am, but it's not a lot. And it was so cold. My clothes were freezing the whole day. But I mean, I wouldn't change the experience for anything. Definitely one of my top 5 experiences ever. So.
Yeah, I also was super excited, super happy. I remember asking everybody so many different questions. I was super curious. Even up to this day, I'm always asking questions. It's been the best decision I have ever taken. Like, I love this program.
I love it. Let's get into what y'all are actually learning. Charisse, Jessica, Liz, what does the curriculum look like? I think Charisse, you probably have more a line on this one, but like what sort of projects are you doing? What's their kind of week to week, month to month, day to day look like from?
I think we've taken the best parts of traditional design school and then corporate life and like merged them together, right? So we have structured courses around storytelling, sketching, the design process, but then we've also merged that in with the meetings that you have to have when you're meeting with your counterparts and you're working on bringing a product to life. You're meeting with development, you're meeting with your marketing partners, you're meeting with the brand team. We're taking the best parts of both worlds and really bringing it together. Each quarter, we're working on a product we will take to market. So that's also been a big piece of how we're structuring our curriculums as well. And it's really exciting. We have our first superstar that's going to be launching next month. And yeah, and then we have a full collection of forums that's going to be dropping next summer. So a lot of it's project based, but at the same time we're working on skill development. We're also working on strategy and how do you chart out your own career. And I think that's been the most empowering part for me in my own career, just taking control of it and understanding that I drive it. I don't look to anyone else to say, hey, Sharice, you should be here. Like really sitting down and planning it out, because it gives you a roadmap, and it also allows you to hold your mentors and your managers accountable for your own growth as well. So that's just a little bit of what we work on. And then Jessica can talk about leadership as well.
Yeah.
We saw some leadership nuggets, but
yeah.
And I think the students them also, but I think our core pillars have been around identity. So making sure I think Bree spoke to this, the strength of everyone is themselves. And I think that can be really overwhelming when you step into an ecosystem like Adidas with really experienced designers. So especially when there's underrepresentation of people that look like you. So it was so important to us to help everyone understand who they are and that is their superpower. We spent a whole quarter on that. We also spent some time around the leadership at Adidas is the 3 C's: creativity, collaboration, and confidence. No matter if you're in finance or strategic planning or a designer, that is the DNA for success. And particularly we honed in on creativity and discovery, and did a whole quarter on that. We were so privileged to also, communication is a 4th C I'll add to our curriculum. Essential soft skill, whether that's in writing or visualization or speaking to multiple different stakeholders, whether that's your peers or executives. And this group, I would say their storytelling capability from day one to today is like make you pass out. Like people will have, all things. Like so proud. And hats off, Jonah Hill was a storytelling instructor for 6 weeks. That was super special. And then I think finally to Sharice's point, professional development. I think that schools don't spend enough time at all around that part of education. Actually, a nod to actually where I learned about this part of the curriculum is at Howard University, from friends who went there, and literally there was a 1 credit class, and it was like, I think what was the special sauce of the business school there, and kind of took that and reformatted it so that our students can have access to that too.
I love it. All right. Kicking it back to the girls, all you students. Sorry, I feel like I used to work in higher education, so now I'm going to get back into referring to everyone as students. So apologies in advance. Have you guys had like a favorite project, favorite assignment that you all have worked on?
Yeah, for sure. I think the Superstar is my favorite. That's coming out next month. Because it was such a, not personal, but like I thought it was such a beautiful project that we really focused on creating for the consumer's mental health, and especially in the climate and everything that's going on in the world. I think that was so important, and it came out great. So that's my personal favorite.
To Sam's point, that project as they were working on, so the cool part is the Superstar is going to market. We learned color and material design by coloring and mocking up the materials for an actual shoe. But we also did it February through April. I believe were the key times, which you all
Absolutely.
know is right when COVID hit, and we were suddenly all home away from each other after only knowing each other for 6 weeks. So
Absolutely.
that project was particularly special in the way the team came together and figured out Zoom, and just it felt like we never even had a moment of like, what's going on? We were like, things are going on, and we got to go anyway. And that was really cool.
For sure. I had all the samples being shipped to my place in Brooklyn. Then I'm screenshotting them, like sharing them with everyone digitally, like showing everyone, you know, the materials like through on the camera through Zoom. So we really, we had to make it work. We made lemonade out of lemons for sure with that project.
I would definitely say the forum project was my favorite. I think it was focused on color materials too. But I just think the story that we came up with behind the forum, personal journeys, confidence, growth, is something that I think that a lot of people can relate to. So it's super relatable, and plus, like, me and Bree, I think we killed it. Everyone killed it, but we killed that colorway that we came up with. And when we got to see it in person, I think that just like it was a bonus for me, to hold it in my hand. So I think that one definitely is my favorite.
Yeah, same here. The forum, I mean, like the story behind, you know, about confidence and how to start your own confidence journey through, and then the colors that we chose, that was like super inspirational to me because I know a lot of people like deal with like confidence issue, and even myself, like going through the project, I took some of the advices that we were coming up with and like how to go about your confidence journey, and I tested out on myself, and you know, I'm here, I'm confident, so I'm excited for you guys to see it.
For me, my favorite project was working with the Future team. I probably can't say too much about it, but it was just super cool to. No.
Liz is like, no.
Yeah, but it was just super cool to like start thinking innovatively and to like also include some more inclusive design thinking as well. And I thought it was a cool opportunity for all of us to collaborate, work with other team members within the brand, and like push out product that is futuristic and forward thinking.
And Future is our innovation team that operates basically like 7 years out from going to market. So it was super cool for our team to get to do a 6-week immersive course with the Future design team, who were amazing in helping.
I think, my favorite project was definitely, I have to agree with Sam. It was a Superstar project. Even though like we were just like working on color materials on such a classic silhouette, I also think what we produced, I have not seen that on a Superstar so far, even though there's so many out there. But I think during that process, especially since it was like the beginning of lockdown and everything, we learned like not only the importance of storytelling with all of our projects, but like really connecting it back to the consumer, and how strong that can drive the design that you do. So it was really cool to kind of not just take a shoe and like, oh, let's pick color and materials, but like let's really think about who this is for and why we're doing it. And every time we went back to that thought, it only enhanced our process. So it was a really like well-rounded project. And yeah, definitely my favorite.
Yeah, well, all the assignments and projects that we worked on were obviously amazing. But I would say, like, although like all the big projects, like the ones that are coming out, have been really fun. In between them, we were doing like design sprints, and all of those have been my favorite because we were able to do the silhouettes that I've never really sketched or actually practiced on. So like I was able to find like a new passion for different silhouettes and just kind of keep sparking my interest into footwear design. So learning new things with those small design sprints, thinking about performance and materials is all around. I really like those.
For those that don't know, Christina, can you describe what goes into a design sprint? Like what happens in those little in-between moments when you're doing those design sprints?
We would get a brief on like a specific category, like a silhouette, a type of shoe or type of footwear. And then we just kind of really go broad. We research where a consumer could be, find inspiration pictures for the design, for colors and materials. So the design sprints kind of include everything: the design, color, material, storytelling, how you're going to present the idea. So almost like little mini projects, but they're more conceptual, just for practice and portfolio work. But it was just cool to really think more broad and in the future.
Super cool.
And the great thing about the design sprints is that they usually drop out of the sky. And most of the time, the projects our team they work on, they know that it's coming, and there is probably some pre-work. With the design sprints, they're really ad hoc. Sometimes it comes down from our team in Germany or another team, our AC Advanced Concepts teammates that are working on something, and we adopt that and we work on it at a really short amount of time immersively. So it could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 5 weeks, but we're all hands on deck, kind of working through that sprint really quickly.
That is cool. I like that between you fit these design sprints in between these big projects, so there's no downtime, which is true to corporate life, true to business, true to design, especially for products. And to kind of go back to what Liz was saying about the future team, which blows my mind for people that are forecasting things that are going to happen 7 years from now. I don't know what's going to happen 7 hours from now. I'll probably have dinner. I don't know. But like, it's this, you got to train your brain, and like, it's all muscle memory, and keep it fresh, keep it going. So that's super cool. That is super cool. What has been the most difficult lesson? And this could be a technical lesson, this could be design based or just life based, whatever. What's been the most difficult thing outside of COVID and learning to live isolated from people?
I have learned so many lessons, so it's really hard to pick one.
And they're all difficult, huh, Brie?
Yeah. I've learned so many lessons. I have to say, definitely not like being okay with being vulnerable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just because we're in a space now where we're constantly having to produce work, and being okay with sharing it, and taking the critiques and the constructive criticism, and then not taking it as it's something that's bringing you down, but it's only going to help you improve. But I think just in this past year, my biggest lesson has been to utilize your team around you, and know that you're not in this alone. I've always been someone who doesn't ask for help, and I've saw myself kind of hurt myself in the process of doing projects because I ask for help at the last minute, or I don't ask at all because I'm I'll figure it out on my own. But realizing how many amazing people I have around me, that can help me reach a new level, and not looking at it as I'm being babied, or I'm being helped too much, but it's only going to make me a better designer. So really utilizing the team that I have and understanding the importance of collaboration, that has definitely been the biggest lesson, but a lesson I needed, so I'm glad I got it.
Same, Brie. I feel like sometimes you just want to you do some sketch and you don't want to show anybody. You want to show it when it's already perfect and ready. But sometimes when you just go ahead and show it when it's halfway done, somebody could spark an idea that could even bring that sketch to a whole futuristic or a whole different level that you didn't thought about. So utilizing your network that we have built together has been my biggest lesson.
For me, I don't know how to package this in one sentence or phrase, but possibly trusting the process. I feel for me, I think I went into this program not having big skills in sketching or proportions, and I feel optically I was this is not it, this is not working out the way I wanted to. And I feel for me, I feel if I put X into it, and if it doesn't come out, I'm what's happening? So I feel just being able to kind of trust that over time, those things will develop, and kind of just leaning into my teammates and also leaning into myself, and kind of just knowing that it's going to be okay, and just putting in the work every day will get me from point A to point B. It just might be as linear as I think it should be. But yeah, something like that, trusting the process.
For me, Go, you gotta do.
Thank you, Tina. So I would say the biggest lesson for me is, especially within a corporate setting like this, is not to get too attached or fall in love with my work, because we're constantly designing in teams and collaborating with one another. So if I like pour my heart and soul into like this one sketch, but I have so many others on the side, and like that one sketch that I love so much or got so attached to, the feedback can be like, no, that's not it, or like maybe, so it's like, treat all of the sketches or concepts the same equally. But yeah, don't get too attached, is my biggest lesson.
Yeah, for me, it would be public speaking, presenting in front of people. Before Seed, like I would say I presented like 4 times. Like I could say with confidence that I barely passed my public speaking class in college because I was just terrible at it. But this program has like opened me up, and I was able to speak more. Like, no way can I tell my past self that I'll be on the stream right now, like talking. Like my heart would be beating so fast. But it's taken a lot of mental energy to really improve and push myself past the limits that past the walls I've built up. So that was like a very difficult lesson, and something I've been reflecting on this whole year, and just thinking about it as the year wraps up. But I've noticed like major improvement from the first day of Seed from high school. But definitely like storytelling, public speaking, presenting has been one of the biggest obstacles for me.
Yeah. Um, so funny story. I'm a perfectionist, and we set goals for ourselves every quarter, and I tend to want to fix all my problems or set like reach every goal right away.
Yep.
And that doesn't do any good. It typically hurts me, and so I sat down with Dwayne one time and expressed that. I'm like, well, I want to fix this, this, and that. And he was like, well, when you have chicken nuggets, you can't dip all the chicken nuggets, all the chicken nuggets in the sauce at once. I was like, yes, that makes sense. He's like, you dip one at a time. And ever since then, I've been taking it one chicken nugget at a time. And I just feel like that was like the best advice, not that I've ever gotten, but like that was really good advice. So I hold that really close to my heart. And yeah.
That's brilliant and very true. One nugget at a time.
One nugget at a time.
That is so, I don't know, that cracks me up. That's like the perfect analogy. Also, Tina, with public speaking, I feel you. I never spoke in high school. I did music lessons, never did recitals. Was like, I don't need to share this with any of you. It took me probably until I was 35 to get comfortable speaking in front of people, and then it's been my life for the last 8 years. So it's okay. You got it. You got it. What are you guys? So end of 2020, year's winding down finally. What are you guys looking forward to, most excited about this upcoming year?
I would say to work with. We're gonna in the next year. We're looking forward to like doing more internship with people outside, just to see teams. So I'm excited to that, to get to like broaden my network with the other designers at the farm.
Yeah. I'm excited for that too. And also, I feel like this quarter we've learned so much, and now going off into the next quarter, we're kind of gonna be on our own a little bit more and be more independent. And I feel like that's a great opportunity to shape who we are as designers and like really find ourselves. So I'm like excited for that process to start, even though it has, but like to really get in there and be out on my own. But okay, I'm just pass it.
Yeah, I would say definitely meeting the next generation, being an assist or mentor to them, but also just working on more collabs and projects. That's always fun. And then what else? I had another one in my head. Oh, just I guess like just preparing ourselves to step into our next role. We've been working a lot on our career maps and where we see ourselves in the future. So just being ready to take on that next role as a designer. So
Yeah, I think for me, I'm super excited to work with other teams and to, intern with them. I think that's super exciting. And I think that like year two, it kind of feels like a refresh button. It's like just new energy. And I think that's always exciting. And I feel like for a lot of us and for myself, like I definitely have a lot more like skills in my toolbox. So I feel a little more confident and just like excited to kind of just prep myself for this new year and to like hopefully end it on a good note. And also meeting the new S.E.E.D team, that would be super exciting.
Yes, as some of the other girls said, working with some of the teams at the farm, or actually being like on their team is one of the big things that I'm looking forward to. As much as I love these girls as my teammates, I'm excited to have like new teammates, even though I know I can still bounce ideas and still communicate with them. But almost like it's a new school year, you got new classmates, you still got your friends, but you're excited to learn more. And then also filling up a whole nother sketchbook. Like I'm so ready to fill it up back and forth so I can skim through it and see the progress. And I will do it, Cherise. I will sketch on the back of the page this next year.
Don't waste the back of that page, Tina. Two
I won't.
sketchbooks now, not just one, two. It's
Yeah,
year two sketchbooks.
there you go.
Awesome.
I think everyone kind of touched base on what I'm excited for. Definitely stepping more like towards our professional career. This year we've definitely been taught a lot in a short period of time, which is really cool. So I'm excited to learn more and network more, but also take what's been taught and kind of like up the ante. And definitely like intern, work with different teams, and also meet the new girls coming in. And drop some gems to them, so they're not alone in this. We were really lucky to have like mentors the entire year, so it's really exciting now to be a mentee to them coming in, and just always like support them in any way they might need. So a lot of things to be excited about.
I love it. That's super great. So now that you guys are like, it's year two, you're stepping up. Um, you're the living, proof that this program is working and it's changing. What sort of changes do each of you guys hope to see in the future in the footwear industry, knowing that S.E.E.D's continuing, right? Every year there's going to be a new group, a new cohort of students coming in. What are some of those like changes and wishes and things that you hope to see in the industry as you guys start transitioning from school into your careers? The big question.
Definitely a focus on sustainability and diversity in high positions. So, yeah, I want to see more people color in the industry and females as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be super cool to see other brands create these pipelines for talent to just increase like the pool and opportunity for people to jump into this opportunity. Because right now it's like S.E.E.D, pencil, and then like traditional art and design school. So it'd just be super cool to see more. And just overall more prioritizing and more initiatives towards diversity and inclusion, maybe beyond what a typical training could be. I guess just like diving deep and just being that like that's the priority, and like even like side by side to like a business understanding of like this is what the brand should focus on as well.
Right.
For me, I would want obviously like seeing more women and women of color in this specific industry, but also seeing like Mal said, the pipeline trickle down into education, like college or even high school. Maybe in specific areas that don't really have it. Like where I'm from, my high school, my community college, like had no idea like what to tell someone who wanted to be a footwear designer. It was just like, well, look it up, do apparel fashion, but it's not really the same. So having like more pipeline in the areas that don't have those specific resources, like low income cities where the majority of the city is low income, that's where I would want to see a change.
Yeah.
Just to
Oh, sorry, like you can go ahead.
just to mirror what's been said before, I think not only just more representation of like women in general, but African American women of color in positions that we are in. I think also what could be cool is if that was, transferred into like high school, so at younger ages. Because when I was in my design class, I was about it was maybe only about two black females in our design class, and it was pretty sad. But it was predominantly, male, white. So yeah, just more exposure at early ages, middle school, high school. So.
Yeah, kind of to echo what everyone said so far. Definitely just I'd love to go into an office seeing more women that look like me. That would be super awesome because there's so much talent that goes unrecognized. And to kind of continue the conversation, I do think it needs to start sooner. Just like the standard education system that we have, it's not it doesn't fit with today and like what's happening, and like there's just so much opportunity to teach us younger, because I just think if there were more opportunities like this for young kids, especially young girls at a younger age, who knows what the design industry would look like now, as a whole. So I think the only way to really start and see a change moving forward is to really plant the seed at the very beginning. But again, like Adidas doing this program is just a really good start, and hopefully, again, more brands continue to pick up and join the conversation and make it a more common thing.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that too. I think in addition to equal opportunity and representation, also more innovation, right? And we know that diversity really impacts, or it really fuels more innovation. So just think about the products we'll be able to have in the future because we've invited everyone to the table, not just a select few.
Yeah.
So the products I think that we're going to see in the future are going to be even more great than what we have now. So.
Yeah, to add to that, I feel like I also want to see like a change on like the way people recruit people. I know Liz has a really cool way of how she approaches recruiting, and it's usually like like I know my interview for C, like she barely asked me any questions about like the signing. It was really just about like who I am, the things that I went through, the obstacles that I had to go through, and she knew that because I went through those things, I'm able to approach different situations and probably incorporate those experiences to the sign. So not just because, and I'm saying that because sometimes people feel like they have to go to college, they have to do all these different things. And sometimes you can have all the potential to be a designer without having to be taught by a professional and, learn hands-on like we're doing right now. So recruiters out there, just make sure you really ask the other questions just besides what college you went to.
On it, yeah, for real. Just to like quickly go off that, like I think my interview with Liz was probably the most comfortable I've ever felt in an interview, and like I think the main takeaway there was just like after that, like I felt like the opportunity for like my growth in like any industry was like skyrocketed, because I feel like the experience just felt more human, and I feel like both in the design industry, just like making it feel like you're talking to people. This is like creating products for people, like an overall understanding that like this is maybe a more human process. I feel like with recruiting, that'd be super cool to see. But yeah.
I love it. Gotta keeping the humanity at the center is, I think, the first thing to go. I think that's oftentimes the first thing. You're like productivity, getting stuff out there, which we can all be productive, but at the beginning and the end of the day, we're people. Like we're people. You're making products for people, by people. There's a whole, science and physiology that goes in with sneakers. They support you, literally. Like You can't have a poorly designed sole or someone's going to bust an ankle if you're making, athletic shoes, whatever. So I love that. Switching back to Charisse, Liz, and Jessica, what does the future of S.E.E.D look like? I know you've got a new class coming in January. Is that right?
April.
Okay.
April.
Yep. I mean, that's the biggest priority, right? Taking in class number 2 and making sure that we have the infrastructure in place to support. But I mean, we're a group of dreamers, so the list of dreams is endless. I mean, we want to be able to provide the S.E.E.D opportunity to anyone who wants it. Anyone who wants to design, and not just design footwear, but other design aspirations as well. And so that includes different disciplines, different locations. So definitely have a lot of exciting ideas on the horizon, and we'll just be excited to explore how we can make them happen and make sure that the reach extends.
Yeah,
I think on the forefront for me is also like keeping in mind that our goal again is to change the industry. And so it's about finding ways to band the brands together to support the people, because I was talking about this earlier today, but if Nike goes and hires someone that's not that great for Adidas per se, like that actually hurts us, because chances are they're going to be in our core talent pool one day at some point in their career. We're constantly moving in between the brands. So I think from a recruitment standpoint, like I want to help all the brands make sure that they're getting the right people in their doors. And I want to make sure that the brands are all looking at S.E.E.D as a pipeline for them, as well as for Adidas. Adidas is the vehicle making it happen, and Adidas has been absolutely phenomenal in stepping up and putting down what's needed in order to make this happen in a space where not many people have. But the change needs to happen so much bigger than that. So that's like where I feel like I'm locked in for the future right now, is like really making sure it's bigger than the brand to impact that change.
For sure. And I think just adding to that, building better designers. I think the way in which we've learned to be designers has been pretty linear and very specialized, and I think now we're moving into a space where we need to be more, we need to be able to multitask a little bit more, be able to speak, be able to sell your products, be able to come up with stories, where historically those functions have existed, or those skills have existed in another function. But I think designers need to be more well-rounded and be able to communicate better. Gone are the days of the designer sitting in the corner taking short orders from marketing and sketching whatever marketing says. I think we're becoming smarter. We have access to more information. We know the same things our counterparts know. And now we're able to be better designers. And I think in S.E.E.D, we've also adopted that. We're going to be building better designers than those who are out, who haven't had this experience. So those are the ways in which we're looking to innovate our own structure and build designers that I think we want to see in the future.
Yeah, I love that. I think Jessica brought this up a little earlier about how you guys do go out and talk to high schools and talk to colleges and go out and promote S.E.E.D and kind of talk about that. How do you feel knowing that programs like S.E.E.D exist and that Pencil exists? And there is this there's a change in education, especially right now since most education is remote. What do you guys see happening in the future? Or how do you see education changing in light of programs like S.E.E.D and Pencil being so successful? I think that's the end of my question. That was had like a sea of words in my head there.
I'll start us, and then I know Jessica will chime in on this one, but I think first and foremost right now, we have to value all of the lanes. We have to value that university is right for some people. And we have to value that S.E.E.D is right for some people. And I think that the beauty of what's happened in our time now, particularly due to COVID, is the acceleration of like a needed change, accessibility, opportunity. And I think that people who maybe never felt that a learning environment wasn't particularly helpful or beneficial to them, maybe they thrived in a school system as they knew it, maybe now they're at home and they're on a computer and they're like, I can't operate in the way I would. I can't get to the goals I'm trying to achieve. I can't get recognition in the ways that I used to. And what that shows you is just that different humans need different things. We need to create a more diverse portfolio of opportunities for people to learn. And there shouldn't be one path for one person. There should be many paths for many people. And I think it's really helpful in our program and for the corporate companies that are valuing opening the door to a bunch of those different paths rather than continuing to streamline it for efficiency and say we're just going to go to one. That sometimes it's harder up front, but I think big picture, that's the kind of change that Charisse, Jessica, myself all just like talked about. Like if you can open multiple doors, if we can bring in different kinds of people, the product, the people, the industry, the innovation, like that's when that all gets so much better and stronger.
Yeah, I think what Liz hit on is educational equity. That's been a passion for mine since, forever. And so that means the multiple pathways. So I think that's a huge priority for us. I think the other piece is industry involvement. I've worked at the intersection of higher education and corporations my entire career, and I felt so strongly that industry needs to play a stronger role in the development of talent. So no longer showing up at the end of a student's career journey, but helping with professors and faculty and administrators to shape those individuals to meet the needs of the workforce. And then I think with that comes kind of career equity, right? So redefining what it means to be corporations really holding up a mirror and saying, what is entry level, right? Entry level in a lot of companies means you've had 5 years of work experience. So what does that mean? How do you start behind?
Yeah.
So I think one of the benefits of this model specifically is that it is tied to job placement. And it's hard when you're a student at any size school. It's hard when you're an administrator of a school to really have, and it's hard when you're an employer. You have such small interactions with one another to figure out what are the career options, what are the skills I need, how do I use these 4 years to prepare myself for that, and then on the employer and student side, how do you make those matches in a very quick, very competitive, very confusing short period of time over the course of a couple weeks in the senior year or junior year for internships. So I think this model specifically pressure tests and kind of creates pathways in an innovative way to solve some of the problems that have just existed and really need to break.
Yeah, just to build on that, there are clear gaps that exist between what you would learn in college and then going into a corporate setting. How prepared are you really? And I just think about coming out of college in 2007 and jumping straight into a role at Nike, and there were like real gaps that I experienced. So I think that's when Jessica talks about industry playing a larger role in the education of the future workforce. It's really closing the gap so that you're actually more prepared because that industry is part of your education to seamlessly transition, so there's not a huge jump from one to the next.
All the good things. We are winding down, so I don't want to keep you. I could talk to you guys probably for another solid 2 hours because I love this. We're getting tons of really great feedback, a lot of love and hearts in the chat just on every single topic y'all have brought up. Also, big love for chicken nuggets. Everything, it's great. There's King O'Connor in the chat just said, I love the energy, positive outlook during these weird times is inspiring. So thank you guys in advance. I have one last question for everyone. And I just lost it. Where'd it go? Now that you're all designers, you're seasoned designers, you've done, you've worked on projects, you're creating things that are being actually manufactured, which I think a lot of times in design education, you don't get to do that. You don't get to hold this thing that you've been working on. So that's always really exciting. What advice would you give to young designers or young women, young people out there that think they want to get into design? What sort of tips and bits of advice would you give to them?
I would start off. I'm gonna say the obvious, practicing.
Mhm.
Because the moment I got out of high school, I kind of felt lost because I knew I wasn't going to the school that I wanted to go to. And so I just landed in community college, not doing what I love. So from that point, I got out of high school to applying to see. I was, working two part-time jobs, but on the side of that, I made sure every day I was sketching. I was uploading to my footwear IG page. Also just like asking people I don't know, but I know who can help me kind of grow my work. Just asking those questions that need to be asked. How do I do this? How do I do that? So like networking will be a huge part of like trying to get to where you want to go. So practicing and networking for sure.
Yeah, to bounce off Elia, I think social media and the internet, like YouTube, everything is such a great resource for those who have a piqued interest in something. They can go on YouTube or Instagram pages and they can see the work that's being produced in that industry or that field, and they can try to do it themselves. Kind of like Elia, like just learning off of like self-taught on the side of work in school, and then posting about it and just kind of doing it on the side, but knowing that this is still our passion. But for those who thinking of getting into it, or know that they want to get into it, networking and going online, like now is such a big tool. Everybody's online now.
Mhm.
Like take advantage of it. You can reach out to like 100 people and like one is bound to reply to you. So yeah, just take advantage of the internet.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest ones is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I think that's the only way you get to really grow when you're out of your comfort zone. Whether that be with public speaking or sharing your ideas and your designs, and also being open to not criticism but feedback, and really taking that all in and bringing it into your work so you could grow as a designer is like really important.
For me, I would say trust yourself. I think for a while I kind of knew I wanted to pursue a creative career, but like
Mhm.
never pursued it. And I think it's just about taking those risks and like kind of just like getting it out of your head that like failure is like not a thing. And like everyone like experiences their downs and everyone does fail as they're
Mhm.
pursuing the one thing that they're going for. So just go for it. Like I know it's I guess cliche to say just do it, just go for it. But like genuinely like just trust yourself,
Mhm.
lead into those fears and connect, like use LinkedIn, find us, keep networking, keep trying to
Mhm.
find different ways to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. I think the best advice Mel kind of said it. Just trust yourself, trust the process. One thing I learned in my process, which I always tell to other people now, is like understand that everyone's timing is different.
Mhm.
So if you don't see like you're getting the opportunities in a certain time frame, or even if you see your skills not improving in a certain time frame, like don't take that as like you're not good enough or that's the time to redirect. Like literally, if it's what you're passionate about, it's what you want to do, like just keep doing the work, and it'll happen for you. But everyone's timing is different, so always keep that in the back of your mind. And again, we're clearly online now, heavily, so utilize that. um, and one piece of advice that Sharice gave to me, just like a simple thing, like similar to what Elias said, like always sketch. And Sharice told me to like bring your sketchbook to a place you wouldn't, or just
Mhm.
carry it with you. So I actually did that over this past weekend. So I challenge you guys to like kind of like if you're going to do laundry somewhere, or you're going to the grocery store, you're going to a gallery, like carry something big or small with you and start like just sketching, just to exercise your hands.
Mhm.
And it's a good way to not feel like practice and just kind of something that comes second nature on a daily. But yeah.
I'll throw in a quick piece from my angle. Every moment, every opportunity, every communication, everything you do is a chance to be a designer. The best designers I see are always designers. When they write me an email, they make it so I can just write yes back. There's no back and forth. They're designing their emails to get the answer to their problem right away. So I see so often people are like, I want to be a designer, but they carve out space to go and be a designer. Like you gotta take the advantage of every second, every opportunity, from how your bedroom looks to how your operations while cooking breakfast to, like, you know, every interaction with people, and understanding who you are and what the problem is and what you're solving for. Like, we should be able to see that in everything, and you don't need a pen and a paper to show it. And as somebody who, like Nelly said, might not even ask you many questions, there's a purpose to that. It's because I'm trying to see if you're a designer, like at your core, like in everything in you. And you don't need to be taught to do that. You just need practice.
And I'll add, get to know yourself. Like, you should know yourself better than anyone does, right? Dive deeper into you. What makes you creative? Who are you? What type of creative do you want to be? And you define that for yourself. Don't let someone else define you, or say, oh, you're a Black woman, you must do this, or you must be this way, right? Like, make sure that you define yourself so that other people don't define you, and then make your life about learning. You know, I think that's, you know, few people on this call mentioned practice. Like, you need to be filling your toolbox every day, because you're going to be in a situation where you have a new design sprint. You have to pull from what you've already implanted into yourself. So the more you fill your toolbox, the more you have to pull from it. So that'll be my last piece of advice.
Yeah, to add what you guys just said, I mean, prioritizing yourself. I know many of us may have to like have two full-time jobs and probably don't have time, but like put yourself, prioritize yourself and make sure that like maybe on Monday I cannot come into work because this is the day that I'm gonna put, you know, pen to paper and start sketching. And even if sketching is not like your forte and it's not your way of communication, you can do prototyping, which is my way. Like getting like a fabric, cutting it, cutting some shoes up. You can create your own way to communicate, what you have in your head. Like there's so many different ways, even if it's making like a collage. It's all about just making an idea, communicating an idea. It's all about the idea, and then the presentation. People will help you later on the way how to like render and all those different things. It's just you gotta get it out of your head and into something that we can see what you're thinking about.
So good. So good. So many powerful statements. All of your guys' answers were amazing for every single question. Is there a spot, is there a place where people can, because this actually came up in the chat, is there a place where people can follow you guys? Is there like a S.E.E.D platform or their design Instagrams or anything where everyone can follow your beautiful work?
We're still working on the approval chain for some of those things.
Totally
there,
cool.
In our big corporate, but us individually, I think, are tagged on your site.
Okay. Yep.
And then as our products start to drop next year, you'll start to see more of a home base for all things S.E.E.D. And so we'll make sure you're in the loop too.
Super cool. Yeah. So for everyone, go follow the Wacom Experience Center. Just that's the end of my story and scene. That's it. Thank you, ladies, so much. It's been so wonderful. Thank you to everyone in the chat. People's comments about it's inspiring. It's really amazing to see such a group of extremely intelligent, super well-spoken young designers figuring this out early on, where a lot of people that have been in the design industry, like, again, I didn't figure this out till I was 35, so it's never too late to learn. But props to you guys. Thank you guys so much for sharing your story. It's been really exciting and inspiring. I'm looking forward to this new class coming up in April. It'll be exciting to watch. As someone that's gone through this like guard change and become a mentee to a younger person, it'll be fun to watch the growth that happens with you guys, because I think that's such a it's just this extra level of responsibility, but it's so cool. Like it's nice to be like, oh, I have that answer, like I've lived through this, so I'm excited to see that. But thank you again. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We'll be back tomorrow. We've actually got a really amazing Marvel artist coming to do a Twitch takeover, so I get the day off. I mean, not really. I'm just watching the chat, but it don't have to be on screen. So tune in. We have more content. Tomorrow we have content on our Twitch stream 3 to 4 days a week because we are nuts about sharing creativity. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, ladies, so much. It was awesome to speak to y'all. I'm going to close out this Twitch stream. Y'all stay on our Zoom chat. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.